Hello fellow hunters, welcome back to the channel. I'm JBizHunts, and in today's video I want to tell you everything you need to know about your solo maps and the diamonds and rares you have waiting to be mounted in your lodge. Let's go. When you start a new map, the map is populated by an initial population file that fills your map with all the animals that can be harvested. These animals will be the same every time you enter or exit your map, unless you harvest them, at which time they will respawn as the exact same species and gender as the animal that you harvested, but they could be a higher or lower level. I've played the game since the console release in October of 2017. Since then, I've accumulated over 1,800 hours and 14,000 harvests. I've learned a lot about initial spawns and what your maps may hold during that time. It's brought me to begin a study and apply my knowledge to find rares and diamonds on my solo maps. I always read the forums and comments on most posts and how people feel that they have no diamonds or rares on their maps and they feel like their maps are bare. And this is simply not true, and I'm here to prove that. I'll use the most recent map that was released at the time of this video, Emerald Coast, as an example. I pick a species that has an early morning drink time to be my first target, and on this map, it's red deer. I set my clock to 8 a.m., which is the middle of their drink time, and that gives me 2 hours of in-game playtime to check all the water sources. I start with lakes, as I find rivers can be harder for visibility, and I work my way all over the map, only focusing on red deer. And I do time resets and keep going back to the red deer grind. By the time I've searched the whole map, I have unlocked all or most of the outposts, and I have a lot of drink zones found. What I usually find is when I find all the zones for one species, or the majority of the zones, I find at least one max level and at least one rare fur variation. This is not the case at all times, but it's usually the minimum that I find. One neat thing I found is that the game is set up that all animals have a home range, and they usually share these home ranges with a couple other animals on the map or have an overlapping home range. A good example of this is Leighton Lakes, where whitetail and moose are on the left side of the map, and blacktail, deer, and Roosevelt elk share the right side of the map. Why this is important is that if you find all of the blacktail's zones, and when it's time to look for your Roosevelt drink zones, you can just focus on your blacktail zones, as the majority of them will also be Roosevelt elk zones as well, and gives you at least a starting point to when to scout, run, slow down to reduce your noise when approaching those need zones. That's why I always start with the earliest drink time to start, so by the time you are looking for a nighttime drinker, like a Habanrusa on Emerald Coast as an example, you already have some of the drink zones discovered to know where to look for them in the dark. So far what I found on my solo maps. We'll start with Hirschfelden. I've found 4 max level animals and 3 rares. I consider this a moderately played map for myself. We look at Leighton Lakes, I have 7 max level and 5 rare. I call that a heavily played map. Medved Taiga, I have 11 max levels with 8 rare. That's another heavily played. Verhonga, I consider that heavily played as well. I have 3 max and 5 rares. Parque Fernando, another heavily played. I got 10 max and 3 rares. Yukon Valley is a moderate play for me. I have 4 max and 1 rare. Cuatro Colinas, I have 8 max and 4 rare. Silver Ridge Peaks, I have 7 max and 3 rare. Teo Aroa, I have 9 max and 6 rare. Rancho del Arroyo, I have 3 max and 1 rare. Mississippi Acres, I have 1 max and 0 rare, and I really have a low level of play on Mississippi, as well as New England, which I don't have any max level off of Mississippi and only 2 rares. Reventuli Coast, I have 2 rares and 2 max, which is also a low level of play. And then on Emerald Coast, I have 9 max and 4 rares, and I also consider that heavily played. That's 78 max level animals and 47 rare fur variations on my solo maps alone that I have found so far on my hunts. And I still have more animals to find on my maps that I have not really even played much on, like Mississippi or New England. Having played so many hours, jumping on multiplayer maps, and knowing my own solo maps for initial spawn trophies, like max level animals and rares, I would place a very high probability that any map that you own has a minimum of 7 max level animals and 4 rares on average. You just have to focus on drink times and taking your time to find them on your map. So focus on one species at a time, and it will help you if you are wanting to find what's on your map. If you're going to look for any guides on where to find animals, I would definitely check out ProXEK or Will the Hunter. They have some really amazing guides out there to show you what home ranges and where certain animals live. Please check them out. If you open up your map to multiplayer and you have not found any of your initial spawn diamonds or rares, a guy like me may hop on your map for a hunt and leave with your trophy animal. Multiplayer seems like they have a lot more trophies than solo, but that's just because someone is opening up their map that hasn't been hunted to experienced players across the community, and it gets shared. This also gives you an opportunity that if you find a map that has a low level of zones that have been found, or a host that has a low level, you may go to their need zones and discover that they probably haven't looked at that huge diamond or found that beautiful rare that was waiting for them around the corner. One neat thing that I've realized and that I've found is that even if you do find a max level animal that is on your map, there is still a chance there could be more max level animals of the same species. On my Medbed map, I have found 3 max level reindeer. 1 was a diamond and there was 2 trolls. And I also found 3 diamond gray wolves on the same map. I found 4 collared peccary max levels on Parquet, with 2 of them being diamonds and 2 of them being trolls. And I found 3 fallow diamonds on Tiaroa to go with 3 max level troll pharaoh goats. I have a few maps where I found 2 of a species and should continue looking for a third, as the chance of finding a third max level is very high if you found 2. That's it for this video. Please ask me any questions in the comment section below about initial spawns or finding them on your map. Comment below with your favorite initial spawn trophy that you've found in your solo map so far. If you like this video, please check out the rest of the channel for similar content. Like and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy hunting.